Hello everybody all at once, this is Theo Cedar Jones, and I just wanted to make one of my ultimate takedown of the Cabal videos. And I want to focus the takedown of the Cabal on intimate matters close to home. City planning. I've been wanting to make a video about city planning and what it's been like to ride a bicycle through Oakland, and I started to develop that in the Oakland 2.0. But I really just want to frame all my comments about the urban planning and its discontents in terms of how the insidiousness of the Cabal has trickled down into every aspect of the constructed environment, including the way the stoplights are programmed, and how the streets are laid out, and the proportion of space given to heavy combustion vehicles versus human bodies. And I think I want to start out with one principal metaphor, which is that other than public spaces that are set apart in parks, the biggest form of the commons left in the inner cities, in the major cities, are sidewalks. That's the only commons left. It's like the skin is the biggest organ of the human body. The sidewalks are the biggest organ of the commons left in the cities. And you can read how corrupt the Cabal and Illuminati influences on city planning by measuring and examining the metrics of how city planning is designed to increase the metrics of threat, stress, and putting human bodies into the zones of threat. And if you're riding your bike through Oakland, you get to major intersections like Fruitvale and 35th. I'm sorry, Fruitvale, no, 35th and MacArthur, or Lakeshore and Lake Park. Take those as examples. And here's just a very intimate, particular example of the foul play at work in city planning as a reflection of the Cabal's endemic, universalized influence on the constructed environment. That when in many cases, stoplights are programmed to, when there's a green light for the cars and the pedestrians in the same direction, the cars are also trying to turn right through the pedestrian crosswalk while human bodies are in the crosswalk. So the light patterning is designed to put heavy combustion vehicles in direct territorial zone competition with human bodies, putting human bodies in the same space as cars at the same time to get people across the street. And so this is reflective of the fact that the priority to city planning, to the street light pattern, and to crosswalk design always favors cars. It always favors the convenience of people driving cars, their schedule, their time. At the same time, it puts people in cars in that one-up position on the hazing pyramid of the Illuminati, which means if you've got a little more power than whoever is around you, if you're in a big car and the other people are in vulnerable naked human bodies, then that puts you one up over those human bodies in the thumping order of the Illuminati. And therefore, you become empowered in a negative way as a citizen to threaten human bodies with your car. Just to get around town and do your mundane daily duties, you become a lethal object, a deadly weapon in your big car. Your oversized, overweighted, overtoxified, heavy combustion vehicle is a deadly weapon, brandished randomly against every human body in its path to get to your Trader Joe's or to your yoga or to pick up your kids. You're always brandishing a deadly weapon if you're driving this heavy combustion vehicle to do your chores, your daily activities. That is by design. It is by design that oversized vehicles are used for these mundane activities and put into an urban transit pattern that intentionally puts human bodies in harm's way on every city block without fail. There are no sacred commons in Oakland where the cars are shut out and the people can walk free and easy, and the people on bicycles and the people on light electric vehicles can feel safe from the random intrusion of heavy combustion vehicles parked and moving, which represent a constant random threat. And the threat has to be defined in measurable terms so that we can apply harm reduction strategies and really get our head around how much the Illuminati has affected the constructed environment down to the littlest details. Because they're fucking Freemasons. They build shit. They control the technocracy of the built environment, or have up until now, for the most part. And this is going to obviously be reflected in the nitty-gritty details of getting around town. So to define it in measurable terms, one aspect of it is to define the zone of threat. The zone of threat is when you have a huge power imbalance between a human body and a heavy combustion vehicle, and the heavy combustion vehicle is traveling at a rate of speed and in close proximity to the human body. If the vehicle passes within a certain range of distance to that unprotected human body at a certain rate of speed, then human reaction time is defeated. No matter how fast the human moves to get out of the way, or how fast the driver attempts to correct themselves if they made a mistake and got off course, they can cause deadly harm to that unprotected human when they're in the zone of threat. The zone of threat is when reaction times are so short that humans cannot correct a possible accident. And we are put into the zone of threat at almost every intersection in the city, because cars can violate the right-of-way of human bodies and do so all the time, and people on bicycles and light electric vehicles, because it's an unregulated Wild West atmosphere where it's expected that cars can constantly fulfill their negative hazing function on human bodies. Cars are a form of city planning being weaponized against human bodies on purpose. And if human bodies are randomly placed into that zone of threat where reaction times are too short for human ability to avoid the accident, then we're constantly placed into zones of threat every random amount of feet that we walk down the street or try to drive our bike. Because cars are a constant random threat, parked and moving, to human bodies and people on bikes and people on light electric vehicles. And because we are thrust into the zone of threat as vulnerable bodies, or into the zone of hazing, violent, lethal threat bearers through our cars to random human beings, we are generating threat stress. Humans getting around town as vulnerable bodies are constantly placed into zones of threat, which elevate their stress, which I call threat stress. So threat stress is introduced in a systematic fashion at every transit encounter between human bodies in a physically unprotected zone of threat vis-a-vis heavy combustion vehicles. This is built in everywhere. Parked cars clog the commons everywhere. Parked cars invade the sidewalks. Utilities and all kinds of bullshit private property activities like signage for private businesses, chairs for restaurants, clog the sidewalks. This is an invasion of the commons, an encroachment that is perpetually damaging, degrading, and destroying what is left of the human commons in the major cities. So what we have to do now is imagine that every sidewalk is like a clogged artery in a healthy human body that has to be unclogged so that all the healthy cells can move back and forth. And a truly dignified promenade in a city does not have parked cars in its vicinity. No heavy combustion vehicles except for emergencies. Everything else, including most transport of vital goods, are done through light electric vehicles. Even human-powered or human-powered electric-assisted vehicles. Most of the inner-city utilities and services can be handled in that manner, and heavy combustion vehicles must be more and more contained and quarantined into specialized parking areas that keep those cars away from the vital core sacred commons areas, which should be a place like Lakeshore and Lake Park should have an elevated park over the freeway to completely bypass this negative transit encounter between human bodies and heavy combustion vehicles. You have to cross 4 to 5, 6 lanes of automotive traffic to get from the hills side of the 580 freeway to the Lake Merritt in its fullness. That's a pure hazing system against human bodies designed to reinforce fear so that the controllers, the heretofore supposed powers that were, could keep everybody in the city in constant fear just to get the groceries and get their kids and do their yoga or to walk your pet. You can't avoid the threat stress built into the city transit planning system. And that's why in my dream of rectifying Oakland, making it a world sanctuary of entertainment, arts and culture, and sustainability, that we will roll back these heavy combustion vehicles out of the commons, and that we will analyze every linear foot of sidewalk for its civility, its humanity, so that we have plenty of car-free promenades throughout Oakland where 3 people can walk abreast down the sidewalk in one direction and 3 other people can walk abreast in the opposite direction, and they can pass each other without having to get out of each other's way. And that is a grand promenade, without utilities and random private property activities invading the 6 abreast human bodies that are opening up that artery of humane promenade transit. And so my vision of the defeat of the Illuminati and the Cabal involves this retooling of every nitty-gritty aspect of public life and the constructed environment. And I rejoice in the particular healing that California, the state of California, gets to go through as we wash away the dark, pernicious legacy of every aspect of the deep state and this phony UC regents, the University of California, the regents who control the University of California, all you fuckers up through the decades of the UC regents, all you fuckers in the Democratic Party in the state of California, Adam Schiff, Jerry Brown, you're going down. Maxine Waters, you're going down. The Democratic Party and the CIA, you're going down. And I am here to reclaim my city. I'm here to restore my beloved country. I'm here to protect my beloved planet. And I stand proud and victorious as we watch the Illuminati fall and fail forever. And I stand to reclaim my city from these evil city planners and architects and technocrats and bureaucrats who have labored under this pernicious Democratic Party in the state of California to allow our environment to become raped, degraded, the humanity, the humane aspects of our civic life and our public commons constantly raped, degraded, threatened, and destroyed by the Democratic Party in the state of California, which is going down as the Illuminati goes down.